Hey, hey, TGIF. It's Friday, that's right. I'm Dominic D'Angelo of Podcast Heat Wrestling, Studio1Sports.com, and I'm here today with Mr. Robert Karplus. We are back. We're ready to talk a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of AEW, a little bit of WWE as well. And Robert, are you a Friday the 13th person or a Valentine's Day person?
Uh, I will be honest, I didn't realize it was Friday the 13th until you just said this right now. I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to get X to cooperate.
Right?
I think we're live on X.
We are.
Okay, I'm using multiple computers. There's a lot. I'm not a tech person.
Yeah,
This is
I'm
a lot of this is well over my head.
Yes, me too, Robert. And I'm a producer at the same time. But let's
God, that's a scary thought.
Let's say hi to some folks in the chat here. Robert Triple E says, "What's up? Y'all check out the top 1% of EC3 and the great Marcus D'Angelo." Yes, my brother has a new podcast with EC3. The top 1%. Check it out. It's up on Studio1Sports.com. It's a podcast for the independent wrestler. Kimmy Star says, "After morning, guys." Hello, Kimmy. Jeff Henninger says, "Hello, R&I. Thank God it's Friday and I have off Monday." Ooh, that's a hell of a weekend there, my friend. And Joseph Wade Walters says, "Good morning, fellas. Happy Jason Day." That reminded me of the Friday 13th, Robert. KB also says, "Phone is ringing like mad here. Do you think there might be a holiday that everybody forgot about?" Uh-oh. Oh, she's a florist. That's right. She works in a floral shop. Man, yeah, that's
I don't know what's going on.
And finally, Anarcho Pro Wrestling says, "Anybody ask Robert about West Wing dude in the files?" Who's in the files?
No idea.
Okay, somebody from West Wing's in the Epstein files?
Dude, I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Believe it or not, not digging deep into who's in or not in the Epstein files. It doesn't come up very often, thankfully, in our lives. I know there was a couple of wrestling adjacent stories that came out of the Epstein files. Talked about it on Working Stiff, which is up, right, Dom?
Oh, it's up. Mm-hmm.
It's up. There was a conversation that we had yesterday, Scott and I, where one of the interesting things in the Epstein files, interesting being a relative term, is the dude shows no remorse for any of the heinous, horrible things that he did. Shows no remorse for the allegations and actions around underage children or human trafficking or any of that. Where he does show genuine emotion is when he found out that Mr. Fuji died.
How strange is that? It's like you're a lizard person enough that you have this freak, weird, heinous stuff that you do, and then for some reason, Mr. Fuji resonates with you.
Well, I mean, if you've looked at all into the background of Mr. Fuji, I can see why that would be his guy. That he would be the dude who fed someone's dog to him. I feel that would have been my guy.
Oh my.
Sorry. I find that the way that we have this camera set up with it being so close, like normal movements that I would make seem like I'm like aggressively in people's faces, whereas you look vaguely homeless today, which I like.
Vaguely. I think
it's a look. You look like you should be wearing gloves and training Rocky.
I just got done boxing, so it makes sense.
See? This is what happens when you work with... we just had our anniversary together, didn't we?
Yes, we did, and we didn't let it go live at all for it.
Yeah, I got a technical difficulties thing. Some reason X changed the way that stuff goes live, so there's extra steps that need to be involved. I don't quite understand it.
I don't either. I was really angry the past several days about trying to configure and thinking it was on my end or something I was doing. And
to be fair, we have a plethora of examples in situations in which the phrase "damn it, Dom" has been uttered with pure affection.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
A lot of stuff to talk about.
There is, Robert. There is. Wanted to start it off with Brody King. He's been hitting the news lately. He was on Dynamite in a video package, and I was kind of surprised that word or reports got out that Warner Brothers Discovery was upset. Dave Meltzer reported that Warner Brothers Discovery was upset because of the ice chants that went down. And then here, that was all debunked by Warner Brothers Discovery. They said, no, that's not the case. And I don't know. When I saw the video package, I was like, okay, so MJF's not here. Brody King's not here. They're just saving it for Saturday. I didn't think anything else about it. Robert, would you think there's fair or foul with all this stuff going on?
I'm not going to pull back the curtain at all, but I am theoretically aware of some of those individuals were already en route to Australia. So the notion, the idea that they were somehow being suppressed, not allowed to be on TV because of the potential controversies around ICE, that holds no water with me. So much so the fact that Warner Discovery had to come out and quash this story as quickly as humanly possible,
Yeah.
because that's the kind of thing that would have gotten legs outside of the wrestling sphere. And it's one of the issues that has been brought up. And I don't know if Meltzer is the one that initiated the report or he was reporting someone else's report. The reason that our show is called, Rumor and Innuendo is we are not held to a journalism standard. I know Dom is a professional wrestling journalist. It's like we're one step away from like TMZ with some of this stuff. None of this is being held to that certain level of journalistic integrity. So when you get someone who can say these things with reckless abandon, and then it can potentially impact a very large multinational corporation like Warner Discovery, who, I don't know if you're aware of this, is going through some potential sales right now. This is the kind of story that could wind up spiraling out of control in a very, very short amount of time.
And if you're a big corporate company like Warner Brothers Discovery is, you don't want to be choosing a side of the aisle, and you kind of want to remain Michael Jordan in a lot of ways when it comes to
I would pay good money to have seen the meeting where a Warner Brothers executive was told, there's a story here with Dave Meltzer and Brody King.
Who are those guys?
That's multi-billion-dollar acquisitions going on in the middle of an Oscar campaign where they have two movies potentially that could win Best Picture. They've got other things to worry about beyond the Brody King Ice Chant story becoming a thing, because that will get latched onto by either side of the aisle. That's sort of the world that we're in right now. That being said, Grand Slam is this weekend. Do we know if it's airing live on Max?
I heard it wasn't airing live. I heard it was going to be pre-recorded.
That is a huge miss.
Isn't it? It feels like a big miss.
Here's the reality of it. We are in a world right now where the Olympics are going on in Italy. They air them live, and then they air a prime time sort of highlights best of for the general audience. But most people on a Saturday morning, they got nothing going on. Their Super Bowl is over. There's no football. Yes, there's college basketball, but that's a little bit more fractured in terms of your viewing audience. Go Gators. But what you're basically dealing with is people have that time. And if you're subscribing to Max and you want to feel like I'm getting my money's worth, I'll tune in live. Same way with WWE, with Raw. These international Raws have been airing live, and I've been a huge fan of 2 p.m. Monday Night Raw.
It's a game changer for us 40-somethings.
We are old men.
Hey, what isn't old?
What isn't old
is WrestleMania, because
I was trying to segue to a Blue Chew ad, but go ahead.
Oh, okay.
The thing wasn't opening. That was the issue I ran into. My computer did a hard reboot, and I was trying to get it up. And guys,
hey.
Look, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, and if you're not bringing your A game, you're going to hear all about it. It's time to level up, and Blue Chew just dropped something crazy. I'm talking next level championship belt, gold-plated energy. Blue Chew Gold is the newest innovation for the #1 chewable ED brand. This ain't your grandpa's little blue pill. This is the 4-in-1 beast incarnate that's setting the gold standard for performance. We're talking 2 ingredients for blood flow to keep that rocket pumping, mixed with apomorphine and oxytocin to turn up the arousal and connection in your brain and body. And we've got a special deal for our viewers. Get 10% off your first month of Blue Chew Gold with promo code RUMOR. That's promo code RUMOR. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. Dom and I, we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode of Rumor and Innuendo, even though for some reason at the top of the screen it says The Daily Wrestling News, which makes me think this is one of your 45 other podcasts that you host.
I have a lot of podcasts.
You have too many podcasts.
It's getting a little overwhelming.
Are we going to talk the Mania sales issue? Is that where we're at?
Yeah, that's what's next on tap here.
There's a scroll at the bottom. I'm trying to see what's coming up next on the ticker.
Yes.
Very excited about what's next on the ticker. WrestleMania meeting. Dom,
Yes.
take it away.
So, according to, I believe it's Fightful Select, WWE has had a meeting regarding the low ticket sales surrounding WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas. According to this is aggregated from SEScoops.com. While the specifics of the meeting are not known, various departments have been assigned duties to help boost the momentum heading into the biggest pay-per-view of the year, PLE of the year. The company has also been trying to prohibit WrestleMania watch parties at professional establishments within 50 miles of Allegiant Stadium to hopefully draw local fans to the venue. Robert, ticket sales are I mean, the ticket prices are very high for WrestleMania, as we know. But yeah, I mean, like, is this a cause for concern? WWE?
So I think there's a series of issues that are going on with this. First and foremost was WrestleMania last year in Vegas. The announcement was WrestleMania was going to be in New Orleans in 2026. If they knew we're going back to back in Vegas, the time to have realistically announced that would have been during WrestleMania in Las Vegas. I was there. You were there. The entire city had an infectious energy to it. It was a tremendous amount of fun. Yes, the ending of that show was a little lackluster. Let's be polite. But for most people, they probably had a great time out there. And if, I was out there with my wife, not a wrestling fan, but we stayed at a nice hotel. We ate at a lot of nice restaurants. We had a nice routine of what was going on in Vegas. And if the idea was while we're there, hey, let's run this back next year, we would have probably been all in. We would have been like, you know what? Let's book our hotel now. Let's look into airfare. Let's lock this down. Let's get tickets as soon as they go on sale. We'll come back. It'll be a lot of fun. People who are in Vegas go, hey, I may have met friends there, or I had such a good time. I'm going to get on the phone and tell my buddies, you got to come out to Vegas next year. Let's make this happen. They lost a lot of that momentum. So when they announced New Orleans, all due respect to New Orleans, where I've been to New Orleans before, there are parts of the city that are absolutely gorgeous. There is that stigma of, to most people, it's just Bourbon Street. It's people vomiting on the streets at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Did I see that? Yes. That's notwithstanding I was there for Mardi Gras. That was what was going to happen. But you don't necessarily know the logistics of the town, how walkable it is, where you can stay, where you can't stay. Vegas is a very familiar, comfortable place. So a lot of people would have felt like this is a pretty low bar for coming back next year. You then move forward into the build that they had for this Mania. We knew last year John Cena's last WrestleMania. That's a big draw. This year, there was no marquee match that was already teed up. We didn't think we were going to get The Rock. At this point, we're probably not going to get The Rock. So it's a little bit of, I don't know. I think there's a little bit of confusion as far as what may or may not move the needle. I will be right back. I have to take a quick phone call.
I'm curious how it's all going to lay out. If they're going to pivot, will we see something pretty noticeable, like that's kind of out of the element of what WWE would typically do? As if, you're trying to tell a story here, and will we see it shift again? We kind of saw that with obviously the world title picture with Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Are we going to get something like that again to really try to elevate something? Are they going to really go for like a Hail Mary kind of desperation move? It's a lot of questions coming into play with all that. But yes, I'm curious exactly how it'll all lay out here. Let's see. Trying to see some comments here. Joseph Wade Walters asks, obvious question, so can they theoretically change ticket prices to help with sales, or are they dead set in their ways not to cause a ripple effect for future sales? I mean, that's a good question. I don't think, that really depends on how they handle it all. The thing with WWE is, like, this is a new kind of ecoscape for them. They're a global entity. They're bigger than they ever have been. And they've been pretty liberal with their ticket prices, hyping them up and selective with the live events. The house shows have gone away greatly. So they've changed their format and their structure when it comes to that. And at some point, the bubble has had to burst. And we're getting pretty close, I think, to that bursting, where it's just like you're not getting your ROI on your ticket pricing. It's not matching what you're putting out on a television product. And, I think the argument could be made, even if you had The Rock involved, would it still be lasting as much as it has? I don't think so. I think this is an erosion that was set to take place, and maybe this is the start of it here. So it'd be interesting to see what they decide to do here. Oh, well, how about this? I'm on Blue Ski from X says our bar here in Kentucky got sued by Johan Promotions for airing WrestleMania last year. Wow. Yeah, it's funky. So I was in Vegas for WrestleMania, but I actually did not go to WrestleMania. I was not in attendance for it. I'm trying to think of what casino I was at. Somewhere on Fremont Street. We went, me and my two brothers, we watched WrestleMania at a casino, and they were airing it there. So it'll be interesting to see, they're going to prohibit casinos from airing it. And, it just seems wild. WrestleMania watch parties are kind of like a fun thing, Also, when I was in New York for WrestleMania 35, I didn't go to WrestleMania. I was still like kind of a newbie in the whole thing. I did not have tickets or anything. And so I just decided to watch it at a bar, Legends Bar it was. Stan Hansen was there, so was J.J. Dillon. I had a couple pops, and then I left, even before the show ended. It was the best way to handle it all. But so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what's occurred. Joseph Wade Walter says, I'm still not going to stand this Punk versus Roman blasphemy. Who's giving you blasphemy, man? I like the match a lot. Oh, Robert? Robert kind of doesn't like the match. I like it a lot. But yeah, we'll see how it all pans out here. SmackDown is tonight. We have the WWE Women's Championship. This will be kind of telling, too. Jade Cargill versus Jordynne Grace for this women's title. Will Jordynne Grace get screwed out of it? Maybe by Liv? I don't know what's going to happen here. But, and then you set up like a triple threat? I don't know. Why would Liv pick a triple threat where her odds are greater to win the title? I don't know. Yes. But what a dynamic that is. Like, Jade Cargill, is a specimen and a half, and so is Jordynne Grace, but in own different ways, obviously. So these two going at it should be kind of fun. Curious what they end up doing with it. Speaking of women's match, we have an women's elimination chamber qualifying match: Alexa Bliss versus Julia versus Zelina. Seems like this is an Alexa Bliss match just from the surface of it, that she's gonna win and take it. But man, I would like to see Julia get more of a push happening. And I think you could put Alexa Bliss more so into a different picture. Maybe she tags up with Charlotte, and maybe WrestleMania, what Robert kind of hypothesized was like a multi-tag women's ladder match or something like that to entice some folks. So maybe she doesn't win, and we get Julia in the mix, which I would not mind seeing whatsoever. We also have a WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match: Rhea Ripley and Io Sky taking on Nia Jax and Lash Legend. If we're getting a title change tonight, I would be all for it. I think Nia and Lash as tag team champs heading into WrestleMania kind of open some things up. You establish them as a dominant, like, two towers kind of skyscraper tag team. I think that would be a really good way to kind of get them over. And you can, if you want, move away from Io Sky and Rhea Ripley being in your tag team division, as they should be on more of a prominent stage, particularly Rhea Ripley, as you head towards WrestleMania. Love to see her more so in singles action than in tag action. It's just part of a hodgepodge. Same would go for Charlotte too, in my opinion, but I mean, I think there's still some good chemistry you can have between her and Bliss, and have some legs with that. Also, we have, man, this is a good one, men's elimination chamber qualifying match. You got Cody Rhodes, you got Jacob Fatu, you got Sami Zayn. This is a big match. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, Robert mentioned on Working Stiff that he thinks Cody will win this, and then somehow Jacob Fatu will find his way in the match one way or another. You know what? I'm thinking this sets up. Call me crazy. I'm thinking this just sets up for Fatu versus Cody.
You are crazy.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry.
I don't see you still.
Yeah, I got to turn the little camera gimmick on. There we go. Look at that. What were you getting wrong, Dom?
Well, I was I was giving you actually the credit to say that you mentioned that you think Cody's going to win this triple threat qualifying match, and somehow Jacob Fatu's going to weasel his way into the Elimination Chamber. Do you think that's going to be the case? And I kind of think Maybe they screw each other both out of all this, and we just get a straight up singles match: Cody versus Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania.
I don't. I mean, the challenge with that is then what do you do with Drew?
I think you can find something, and I think you can make something work because we saw Drew cut that promo
I
last
think
week.
they're going to go. I think they need to go. They're going to go highest and best use for these people, which is going to be let's throw Cody in there with Drew and Fatu, as many fireworks as possible to boost ticket sales and get this thing going. Um, I'm curious to see what this panicky knee jerk reaction is going to be for Mania. I think the second part of kind of the point that I was making earlier is there was no marquee match going into this year's Mania, and right now that marquee match they're giving us on the Raw side of the house of Punk and Roman is kind of half baked. Um, so on the SmackDown side, with Drew as champion, to put Drew in the main event spot for night one of WrestleMania against Sami Zayn or Randy Orton or whatever it is, doesn't feel like a WrestleMania night one main event. Not any of their fault, just they haven't been positioned that way. Cody is sort of the star of SmackDown. Fatu is a guy that's got a lot of attention, and then there's also Drew.
True. It's going to be interesting. I think about last year, and we already had a triple threat world title match. It's like, would they really go run it back with a different set of characters in that? And I mean, I guess, but
I mean,
I
the
don't
only
know if
other
I'd be
thing that I
for it,
floated out there was this notion that Sammy was the guy who took out Fatu,
which is
and
not
that
bad.
you could then do a Jacob Fatu, Sami Zayn, you know, very personal match.
It's not a lot of time for that though. Too, I think you're talking about a half baked with Punk and Roman. Could get
Well,
half baked with that too at this
well, no,
juncture.
because somebody took out Jacob Fatu, knocked out his teeth. Why not Sammy?
I guess it could maybe work. Quite the pivot early on or as close as you get to WrestleMania though for Sammy to turn heel. I don't know if I would do it that way. I don't know. I don't think it'd be fair to Sammy to do it that way. Uh, Jeff Henniger pitches this fatal four way with Sammy, Cody, Drew, and Fatu. What do you think of that, Robert?
I don't. You
I don't hate
could.
that.
It's just
I don't hate
it's not bad. It's a lot of people. Yes,
elimination
it could.
style.
You could do a fatal four way match, but that doesn't feel like main event of WrestleMania necessarily, unless the idea is that night one of Mania is going to be main evented by a women's title match. In which case, you could do a fatal four way match going into Mania, or having that be maybe your opening match of night two of WrestleMania, and then your bookending. Hey, you're going to get to see four big SmackDown stars in a match to open the card, and then you're going to close the card with Liv Morgan versus whoever. But then it's like, is Liv Morgan, Stephanie Vaquer a strong enough main event for night one of WrestleMania? I don't necessarily think so.
I don't think so either. I think it's a good match to have, but I don't think it would be up there for sure. Let's preview Grand Slam real quick as we close on out. It's in Australia, Robert. Did you know that? Grand Slam.
I did.
Did you know Kyle Fletcher is from there?
Would explain why they quickly rushed to put the title on him.
Are you okay with that? We didn't. Obviously, we weren't here yesterday,
No.
so we didn't cover Dynamite.
I wasn't. I think that it felt like they had a little bit of momentum right now with Tommaso Ciampa. The idea that Ciampa was going to be having some open challenges, which is what people wanted to see on SmackDown with him with the U.S. title. It was a good way to establish Ciampa, who's a guy who can wrestle anybody. And if you put that on Collision, that's an attraction. See who Ciampa's going to wrestle this week. A lot of guys on that roster, a lot of fun potential dream matches. Hell, MJF on Chris Van Vliet's podcast yesterday said him versus Ciampa would have been an interesting match. You then
yeah.
you like immediately went to a situation where Kyle Fletcher cut a promo before the match telling Don Callis, "Don't get involved. I want to win this on my own." He beats Ciampa clean on his own. He cuts a promo after about how meaningful it is that he's going to defend this title in Australia. Mark Briscoe interrupts him. Fletcher not only accepts the challenge in a ladder match where he can potentially lose the title and can't escape with a disqualification, a count out, a cheap win, none of that. And he's your heel. I get that it's home country and they're going to do whatever they're going to do, but the blurring of the lines in AEW with baby faces and heels is a very strange decision for a company that you want to build more fans. You need to make it as accessible as possible. And right, wrong, or indifferent in the wrestling world, people need to know, who do I cheer? Who do I boo?
There's a lot of half pregnancies in AEW. You have the eliminator matches, and then you have this blurring of the lines of heel and babyface, the gray area stuff. It's so counterproductive, and what you're trying to do is, if you're AEW as a company, and that's remain relevant. And
Yep.
so often they do not feel relevant whatsoever. It's just, it's a shame. It's a shame, Robert. I spoke about this whole past week. Was like 6 years, no, yes, 7 years ago was the ticket announcement party that AEW did for Double or Nothing in Las Vegas, and I was there for that, and it felt like an awesome, optimistic time for wrestling. And just to see how it's all, the trajectory has gone, it's really disheartening. So it's like, I know we're critical of AEW on here, but it's to an extent that I really care about it and I want it to succeed, and it's not getting there.
Of course. That being said, I think that the main event will be really interesting with Brody King and MJF. I think they've done a pretty good job of making Brody King seem like a big deal. No, they're not going to change the title here. My guess, thought, hope, shot in the dark would be Buddy Murphy comes back and costs Brody the match. Give him something to do. Otherwise, it'll be a fun card. I think the biggest miss is that because this isn't airing live, we're going to wind up knowing what happens in advance. And even if you try to avoid the spoilers and try to avoid the main event being ruined for you, if you go on social anywhere, you're probably going to wind up seeing it. And it's a Saturday. People are on their phones at any point in time. You're going to go on Instagram or Facebook or X or whatever it is. You may accidentally see something you don't want to. But I guess if you're staying home Saturday night on Valentine's Day and you're watching the Grand Slam Collision
With that special someone.
with that special someone, like make it a hell of a night. That's all I'm going to say. Pour yourself a glass of wine and go from there.
Ooh, yes, make the magic happen. Look, if they wanted to solve this, Robert, to avoid spoilers, they should just label Grand Slam as Collision, and then you're set. You're good. Good to go then.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, we are going to be good to go every Monday through Friday. Now that we've figured out this X Techno, they changed how they configure it. It's insane. We're still going to be here as we are here every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern on a plethora of platforms. We try,
Yes.
including the WW Creative _ISH X account, the at Dominic D'Angelo X account, the at SE Scoops X account, and on YouTube on Podcast Heat and Studio One Sports. So on behalf of the only man who was able to decipher how X works outside of Elon Musk, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpolis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Yes. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy your Valentine's Day. Love is in the air.
Shh.